Christmas came early for a few of our members because they get early access to our eBay listings, and we left some meat on the bone and gave some people some pretty great deals. I'm going to show you all about it right now and talk about why this is what's sold on eBay for us. In addition to our regular eBay listings every month, we do have a store and we sell a lot of sports cards, character cards, books, and things that we just list all the time. And this sold at $14.34. Now, this was not a bid. This was a listed price. And that was a great price because these really sell for about $28. They are from the Daredevil series. A little harder to find because it has that write your own bubble, which meant you were supposed to write in your own idea of what the dialogue should be. And a lot of kids did. So there's a lot less of this card than there are on some of the other ones in the series. And it is in really nice condition. I think we could get more if it wasn't for the way that eBay has you list things now, because they show the condition as ungraded - poor. I wouldn't say it's in poor condition at all. I would just say it's ungraded, and it doesn't make sense to grade a card that's going to sell for $15 or $25 or $30 because there's an expense to that. So I think that is maybe downgrading this card, and that's why it's sold, because people could see in the pictures that it really is in nice shape. But I think it's always important to give more than you promise. One of our members got a really good deal on this set too, 4 pieces for only $10 plus shipping, and the shipping wasn't much because there wasn't anything breakable. This is a really cool tray. It just was a little hard to get a good picture, and it has a little bit of wear, but not many people in the United States went to the Brussels World's Fair, and I think that might be why we didn't get more bids. What a great World's Fair it was. Look at that structure, the atomium. We can show you up close here. It was a really cool place that I wish I could have seen. It was before my time. So somebody got a great deal with all the Viewmaster reels and the tray and the map, and $9.99 on one bid. I'm glad it went to a member. We did a bunch of the dinnerware, and this one to me was the big surprise. This was not easily identified because Foley only made this Christmas rose pattern in 2 colors. This is the sort of turquoisey teal green. Another photo that wasn't great because there looks like there's a big chip or a white spot in the middle of it. Thankfully, people knew better, because when you looked at the close-up photos, you could tell that was just glare, and it's a wonderful piece. I was pleasantly surprised that it went for $47. I didn't really know what to expect when I did the dinnerware video, which if you haven't seen it, it's got some interesting stuff telling all about dinnerware and why people collect it and why it's of interest. And this proved that there is truth to that. We're going to show more of the dinnerware in a minute here, but I'll skip to some other things that we listed in our main video, starting with this piece, because we let somebody have a great deal on this. If you heard me tell the story, we made really good money on this piece because we got it years ago for very little. And the person I sold it to wanted me to sell it. And I said, well, I think the plain ones are selling for this price. And they were like, wow, that's amazing. I'd take it. And I thought, you know what? We're going to let a member have a deal, because I mentioned in the video that the hobnail, it apparently is considered more scarce than the smooth. And right now, people are just paying a big premium for that. So a member bought this right away, buy it now. I wasn't going to do a buy it now, but when I looked at the price of a reserve on this, I realized that I was already paying a big reserve on another item that did not end up making reserve. And you have to look at this as a complete thing if you're a seller. What is my total profit on my total sales? And I had to do a reserve on the other piece, so I decided to just let this one go. I was also a little afraid of breaking it. I had them pay a little extra so we could have UPS do the shipping. And it got there in one piece, and a member has a lovely, beautiful vase at a fine price. And I'm glad that I was able to do that for somebody, because people have been really great and helpful to me this year, and I will never forget it. So I figured letting a few things go and making some people happy was a random way to pay it back. This piece also went to a member, and it's someone I chat with a lot, and she and her husband collect these items. He's involved with the Masons, and they were just so happy to see this because it's a really interesting piece. It's from the 1933 convention, and it's got the old hall there. That hall is still sitting in Atlantic City, and they've replaced the roof to try to keep it intact because it is vacant. Well, Atlantic City is definitely not prospered of late. It is in really nice shape. It's a Lenox, and it's just got an interesting history. And I knew it could sell closer to $60, but I decided to put it at a buy it now at a little better price because this is a member. I know that they like these. I got it at the right price. I was happy, they were happy, and I wanted them to have it. So they were able to jump in and grab it at the buy it now. This is the Christian Dior Norma Velvet hat. It is something that you saw me wear in a few videos, flat to look like a beret, but poofed up. This is what it looks like. It actually was meant for women, and it is on the way to a wonderful woman who bought it. And I think it'll look great on her. It's black. It's great for the holidays. It's casual at the same time. So it went for $59 on 5 bids. I thought that was a fair price. This also went buy it now. This was another thing that went at a good deal, and a member bought it, and I'm glad that they were able to have it, and it's a really beautiful piece. The price of silver has escalated so much that we are actually seeing a slowdown in the turquoise jewelry market. And it's not because there isn't interest. I think it's because people are waiting to see if silver stabilizes at a price. At a certain point with silver and gold, you get to where pieces start to be valued so much for the intrinsic value that it enters a different category of collector. And I think that we're seeing that with gold jewelry and with Navajo silver because it's substantial and has weight. I do think that there's bargains to be had in small silver pins and brooches, however, because a lot of the general public who sell those sort of things at garage sales hasn't caught on to this yet. This went on 22 bids for just exactly what it should. That's what I would have priced it in a retail store. It's what they sell for online. It's a beautiful bowl. I really like Moorcroft. If this hadn't sold, I'd have taken it to Florida. It looks like I'll be able to resume shows starting with the West Palm Beach Antique Show the first weekend of February. So if you're in Florida, come see me. I don't know my space number yet, but we're working on that part. It is a big piece. It has the sticker with the Queen Mary warrant. The royal warrants were when the royalty said, we as royals are buying this for our houses, because then everyone else in England said, ooh, that's a quality product and we should be buying it too. And Moorcroft really is a beautiful product. I love the way they use the slip for the decorations. It went for $102.50 on 23 bids. I'm not surprised the bidding was active. Now this went for a little bit more than I expected. This is a Chelsea Bakelite case clock. The fact that it works really helps. I figured this would sell in the $225 range. I had to buy it now of that amount. You know, sometimes you take your chances, and if it gets a bid and it's less than the buy it now, then the buy it now doesn't apply anymore. You take your chances, and this actually bid to higher than the value I had. And I think it's in part because of this label here. It's got the original Chelsea label and who owned it first, and that's useful to collectors. Chelsea still has records of all of those, so you can trace who the original owner was. But it said it right on the tag on that one. It went for $280.50 on 15 bids. This also really surprised me. I'm so glad that my cousin Curb Digger Carl, who I'm looking forward to seeing in Florida and we'll do some videos again, told me to look for this artist. This is Mara from Mexico. It's got the Made in Mexico mark on it. She passed away in 2007. Her daughter is doing work there now and continuing the line, but it's different and people are looking for the originals. And this one, I knew it was popular. I was a little surprised how popular though. 16 bids, $50. If you watch the channel regularly, the main channel, you probably saw me buy this at a garage sale for $2. It was sitting in the garage on a shelf. So this is a name to look for. This was another big surprise. The maritime stuff just did really well this month. This is an unusual deck of cards. I have acquired a giant collection of playing cards, and a lot of them are fun and they're worth $10 or $15 or $20, but a few of them were special, and this says special right on it, special submarine deck. Notice they have the small heart and the big heart. All of the red is done in a shade of red that can be seen using the red light goggles they had to use on submarines, because when they're running on stealth, they only have red light inside. You can see on the Ace of Spades, it also has the red. That makes it really unusual. The graphics are really great. It was in good condition. It sold for $203 on 28 bids. So I have really been having good luck with playing cards, and I am going to keep specializing in them. Sometimes when a big collection comes your way, it opens your eyes to something you never really considered before. If you enjoy these videos that talk about what's sold and give you a better insight as to the marketplace right now, well, please click thumbs up and let YouTube know. Please subscribe if you haven't. Now, I think somebody got a wonderful deal on these. I did not make a lot of money on them. They came from the same estate sale as the mug. I was willing to give it a try on auction. There is something to be said for some of the dinnerware I'll show you and these books, doing a fixed price listing and waiting for the customer who's really in need of the pieces or are serious about having a whole set to buy them. So somebody got a good deal. But again, like I said, this was a month for me to pay back all of the help that I'd gotten from all of you. And so I was happy to see this sell, and it went for $56 on 4 bids. Now, part of it is the shipping is high, although not as bad as you might think. We were able to get this shipped for under $30. And I did wrap every single one I was asked to by the customer, and I realized that they were right because these dust jackets are in pretty good condition, but they're old and they will chip just rubbing around. And he said he had bought a set before and they were sent badly and that they were pretty messed up by the time he got them. So I wrapped every one of these and then packed them tight. What an interesting person he was. He and his second wife, who he married after he got her pregnant. First wife dodged a bullet, specifically the torpedo that sank the USS Lusitania, because Elbert Hubbard and his wife were on board and they stoically went down with the ship. So this was printed after his death. He died in 1915 on the Lusitania, and we went to war the next year. The government used that event to convince Americans who did not want to be involved in the war that it was the thing to do. What a great iron. I have always been a fan, and I do have in my house various vintage, classic, really well-made, still functional items you can use today, just like you could use this one back in 1941 when the patent for this design was established by Brooks Stevens, one of my favorite designers. I talked about all the wonderful cars that he designed. He just did a ton of stuff. This great piece went for $57.83 on 4 bids. This was heavy, so it was about $75 with shipping. I put this up and just let the bids run because I wasn't sure what this set would sell for. The more elaborate, the bigger they are, condition matters. It used to be that the conventional wisdom is you couldn't sell these, but I always watched people buy them at my estate sales over the years, so I would pick them up when I would see them. Now they're selling for a little bit more because even though nobody uses this, all of these tools have been replaced by computer-assisted design. There are some people who use them for art. There are some people who have memories of a parent or a grandparent using them and like them as a desk item. And some people have them because they're engineering wonks and this fascinates them and they understand them. And so they are selling now. And this one went for $40 on 10 bids, which I thought was pretty good. I knew that I would sell this. Silver is popular and becoming more expensive. The silver dime is probably worth $4 or $5 of the price, and a decent letter opener usually sells for about $20. So I thought this sold for a fair price. I thought the condition was nice. It was done in the 1970s, but the mercury dime is from 1943. I have noticed that coins can be difficult to photograph well. This looks a lot more pitted and worn than it really was. So I think the person who got this was pretty happy when they saw it. The Buster Brown celluloid hanger, it went for $11 on 2 bids. I had to buy it now of $15. These don't sell for a ton. They gave a lot of them away in 1946 as a promotion, but this one was fun and it's just a great graphic. I was happy to send it off to a new collector. I have seen some Buster Brown stuff sell pretty well. My friends Willie Joe, who you see in the chat sometimes, when they did the show with me at Springfield, Ohio a couple of years ago, they had a Buster Brown shoe shine stand, say that 3 times fast, and I understand that they sold it at the show this year. I'm going to be doing the show with them next May. This went to another member who is a friend of mine, and I was very happy to send it to her all the way in New York. And it should get there just in time for Thanksgiving. That's how I timed the sale of these pieces. I wanted to make sure people could get them in time. The downside of this one is that it sold for $15.50, and it's probably a $75 to $100 piece. Why is that? Well, because even though I gave shipping options, eBay decided to populate the shipping with the most expensive one. I don't know why they did that, because I gave the option of UPS, which is how it ended up being sent, and it was much cheaper than this. I ended up refunding the customer a fair bit of the shipping, But because the shipping was so high, it kept the bids down. So if you look at the total, it went for $67, which is about what it should have. This is one problem with selling dinnerware online, especially large pieces. And so it is a category where for certain pieces, large pieces, sets of plates, flat pieces particularly, you're probably better off doing a fixed price listing and waiting for the customer to come along who isn't going to get killed by the shipping, someone in your region, or somebody who buys multiple pieces of a pattern and you're shipping a lot at once. And that's how you get around the shipping issue. Having said that, it went to somebody I really enjoy, and she got 2 other pieces as well. And overall, we were all happy. And like I said, when I did the dinnerware video, I bought all these pieces for around $10 each. And so anything over that is just pure profit. And I did very well on the dinnerware overall. I would say that we more than doubled our money, came close to tripling it. This piece was another one that she got. This is the Chateau d'Un hexagonal handled vegetable bowl. Such a beautiful piece. Again, $12. It would probably sell for $25 in a store, but they charge $17 shipping. We were able to combine the shipping of this and the other piece she bought. I couldn't send them with the turkey platter because of the size and shape. The other meat platter, $16 plus shipping. Not a bad price, but again, look how the shipping is more than the piece. And that's why, again, with flat pieces, or if you're doing pattern matching, try to find sets that have several pieces together, because then you can make multiple sales. On the other hand, this was a small piece, easy to ship, and it went for $23 because this pattern is a pattern that went out of production recently enough that a lot of people are still trying to finish their sets. This is Vienna wood. There's also Blue Danube. They're made in Japan in the late 20th century, and the style of the original Meissen patterns. So this piece, even though it was small and easy to ship, went for $23 plus shipping. And that's where you start to realize that there is potential in selling dinnerware. This one did very well. I was very pleased with it. Noritake 1931 mark, very scarcely used mark. They really changed their marks a lot in the 1930s, and there's a great online resource for you to see. We were able to identify the year that this came out, and it makes sense because that heliotrope purple was so popular in the late 20s and early 30s. And what a beautiful piece, and I can see why it went for $46 on 21 bids. When you get something that's really showy, you have a really good chance of doing well, especially if you sell in the right season, and November is the season a lot of people are thinking about table setting. This one is the Castle Garden vegetable bowl. It went for $9.99, but again, the shipping was more. Not a great picture. The Fiesta ware, I really want to talk about this one. This I paid $8 for because it was missing 2 of the inserts. Well, it had 3 out of 4, and one had a huge chip, and I got rid of it. The other pieces I decided, because I had so much trouble trying to find inserts at a price I could afford to build a full set, I decided I would take the set apart and let people buy individual pieces. And one person bought 2, and then the other 2 inserts went to other places, and hopefully they will revive other sets. Because of that, I got a lot more money than if I'd sold them together as an incomplete set. This went for $26 plus shipping. This one went for $26 plus shipping. It did have a little firing crack, which you see there, but the cobalt is a desirable color for the center. There's the tray. It went for $51 plus shipping on 10 bids, and this and the center went to the same person. And the other insert only sold for $15.50. Ivory is not as popular a color because it's not as vivid, but actually if I'd been able to find another ivory, I would have had a matched set, and they look great if you have 2 of them together in the service because it balances it out. So did the people who bought these pieces get a good deal? Yeah, they sure did. The total for all 4 pieces was around $100, but that's a pretty good return on an $8 buy. This piece went for $15.50. Again, look at the huge amount of shipping that eBay quoted on this. I'm going to have to see if there's some way to sort this so that eBay puts the other option first. I think we have this as a default, and I think if I named UPS as the first option and then put the post office second, then people could choose what made sense for their area. This is a pedestal bowl. I really needed to put a second picture in. And because I did the video and I figured people had seen it, I was a little lazy, and that costs you. This would have sold for more money if people had seen that it isn't just a vegetable bowl and that it has a pedestal. And I'm sure whoever got it is very happy because it's a really showy piece. But again, with the shipping, eBay overcharged on some of the shipping, in my opinion. I gave some refunds and then they take a percentage, but some of that went towards the money I didn't get because people thought the shipping was going to be so high. So you have to kind of take it as a balance. The Ferndale Salt and Pepper Shaker went for $11.50 for the set plus shipping. That's about the right price. This piece did very well. This is the Red Wing Smart Set. Such a fun pattern. It would have benefited from me having a picture from the side so you could see the pattern and that it's a big, huge salad serving bowl. But it went for $59, and that was certainly a nice increase over what I paid for it. And it went on 8 bids, and I'm excited for whoever got it because I just love this. The Royal Worcester, I learned in the research and talked about in the video, Vale is the stuff where they formulated a gold that could go in the microwave. Why everybody else hasn't figured out how to do that if they could is beyond me, because I think people would like gold trim if they weren't afraid that it was going to fricassee them. And they managed to figure it out. However, this was not the Vale. This is the straight Evesham, and the straight Evesham is from before they did that. And that does limit the customer because some people want to use things like this in particular in the microwave and they don't feel they can. I'm not so worried about being dishwasher safe. Eventually, yes, you'll wear the gold off if you wash them over and over and over. Most people are using these for a little fancier occasion, so that really just isn't an issue. It went for $9.99 and then shipping. Somebody got a good deal on this too, but when you add in the shipping, again, they paid about the right price. These sell for about $25, and with shipping, it went for, I think, around $28 actually, and that's in the right range. So you have to bear in mind when you're selling on eBay that some of these things, again, I have a whole set of this, and if I had put other pieces online and the person had been able to buy multiples, that would be where the shipping wouldn't be such an issue. This went well. There's a little funny story that my friend who runs Lander Street Vintage in Seattle, where I have a whole bunch of this for sale, told me there was some sort of a dispute between the designer and Franciscan, and they didn't want him to be credited with the design. So he drew the flower in a way that his wife's name, Ella, is in the center of the flower, and you have to look at it with the magnifying glass. And there it is. I thought that was so cool. Anyway, this was popular. I'm not surprised. It's a great pattern. It's their old Palomar blank from the late 1930s that they updated with this 50s design, and people really like it. $34.51 on 11 bids. I do have more of some of these patterns, so if you like this or you like other pieces in the pattern, let me know. You can always send an email to theantiquenomad@gmail.com. This piece did, I thought, just fine. Wild Strawberry is a nice pattern by Wedgwood. It's a pretty coffee pot. It's a great style that first was popularized in the 1920s. It went for $32 plus shipping on 12 bids. I thought that was a pretty fair price for it. And again, for me, that's tripling my money. So these are things that you will find out there and you can do well on. This is another one. It's a beautiful hand-painted Dresden bowl. It appears to be early 1900s, both from the design and the mark. It was hand-painted. I think somebody got a wonderful deal on this, but I got a wonderful deal on this because I bought a whole stack of this plus other pieces in a store in Colorado. And so $32 was an absolutely fine price for me and a very nice price for the person who bought it. Now, I did have somebody reach out and ask me if I had bowls in this pattern, and I just checked, and unfortunately the bowls all sold before I was able to get to them. This is Matlock's Line 300. Such happy pastels. I put these online, and honestly, I probably should have put them in my mall for what they brought, but it went to a member, and again, this was my month to put things out that members could have at deals if they got them, and I'm glad that this person did because he's a great regular shopper of mine, and he bought another piece, so when you put it all together, it turned out just fine, and it is a really sweet little set. And yes, you can use these things. If you didn't see my dinnerware video, do watch it because I talk about lead in glazes and how you determine whether these things are safe for you to use. This is Ferndale again. This is the child's dish. This is a very scarce piece. It's a great pattern. I think it's really popular here in the Northwest where there's the rainforest and a lot of ferns. I don't think it's as widely known in some parts of the country because the prices to me on this are fairly low compared to their other modernist patterns of the time. So it's something to look for. If you're a collector, it might be a fun thing to collect. This sold for $12.50 plus shipping on 4 bids. This one is another one where the shipping is a big part of the price to the customer. And it did sell for about the right price when you take that into account. But for me, it was an easy sale. I had the box, tripling of what I paid for it. And this is, again, why I'm encouraging people who are collectors. It's a great time to buy these things for less expensively than they used to be. And for resellers, you'll go to sales and you will go to thrift stores and you will see these for $2 and $3 sometimes, including this one, which sold for $9.99 on 2 bids. This was the Pickard floral chintz. This was a great set. Little different theme here. I was so happy that it did well because I got it from a couple of viewers. It had been the grandmother of the viewer I met first. It was in her mother's possession and they had kept it, and it was so perfect and so complete with so many things. And I just thought, wow, how many of these are there out there? This has got to be, like I'm fond of saying, have the best one, the cheapest one, or the only one. And I knew this would be the only one. So I put it out at a cheap price and let it run so we would see what it sold for. And it went for $72.88 for the set on 18 bids. And I think that was a great price. It gives us an idea now in the marketplace, if we see another one of these, where the value might be. And I will know to pick anything up like this that I see. The Spode Claudia Jewel, I picked this up from another viewer at her shop in Bremerton. She was having a big sale and it was just an orphan by itself. And I figured there was some set or somebody who wanted it for service who should have it. And it sold for $10.50 on 2 bids, and everybody was happy. I have been selling a ton of this pattern this year. A bunch of it is at Lander Street Vintage. Well, it was a bunch. I think I'm down to a coffee pot and a smaller pot. And I sold this online. It went for $18.50. But again, look at this shipping. And that just seems crazy to me. It's like eBay is putting the maximum shipping amount out there. So I definitely have to switch it so that people see there's a UPS option as well. You know, if you take it in total, the customer paid about $70, and that is what they're worth. This was just fun. The graphics were fun. I put it out at $9.99. I wasn't sure it would get a bid, but I just thought it was a neat theme and it had a fun article in it. It had wonderful information, like the fact that mini skirts can cause depraved behavior of some sort. And so it sold for $10.49 on 2 bids, and I hope someone's really enjoying reading it. This is the actual relish dish from the Franciscan line, the oval one with the separations that's often used as one, but it was the child's dish. And somebody got this for $10.50, which was a great deal. This wonderful, fun costume did find a home. It sold for $103.50 on 5 bids. The pants are really, really short, but the top is fantastic. And it's fantastic on the back, too. I actually will miss wearing this thing. I got to have fun with it over Halloween. And then it was time for it to go on to someone else. And it did. I just think it's beautiful. $103.50 for costume is probably a fair price. But if you think about the amount of handwork that went into this, it really couldn't be replicated for that amount of money. So a good deal for the person who got it. And then this item did not sell. This was the item that caused me to pay the big reserve fee, but I don't regret it because it got to $11.75 on 39 bids. I had a reserve higher than that because it is more than 2 pounds of silver. And so the intrinsic value is higher than it reached in the bidding, and I just wasn't willing to let it go for less than I could sell it for scrap. I'm not going to sell it for scrap. It's a beautiful piece. I'm going to take it to shows, and I have a feeling I'll find somebody in person who really appreciates the style and the craftsmanship of this piece. I think it has a better customer somewhere else. And then the last unsold item was this. It was the Vase print, and it actually did sell. It got the minimum bid of $195. I would have sent it to the buyer at this price had the buyer ever actually paid for it. The buyer was someone who runs an art gallery who knows Mexican artists and really seemed to want the piece, but they never managed to figure out how to get me paid for it. It was an international buyer, and I'm not sure what happened, but I was never able to get them to respond, so I had to cancel the order. And I think that's okay because the $195 honestly is the very, very low end of what that could sell for. I was willing to take that, but honestly, in the gallery, it was sold originally for almost 500, and I think that's another thing that I'll hold out, and I will find the right customer somewhere along the way. It was just really fun to be able to share the wealth with some people who have really supported me over the past year. I had a very good month on eBay, and I'm grateful for that. I have a lot to be thankful for this year. I hope that you are all having a lot of fun at the holidays, and we will have more interesting things coming out to sell online just in time for the big shopping weekend. So if you're a member, look for that. And otherwise, we will see the rest of you a few days later.
If you enjoyed this video, check out this one. Also, click thumbs up to like this video and check the description for information about our Patreon, our memberships. We've got a lot of different levels with different perks and bonus videos and early content. Also, please do check out our website, theantiquenomad.com, for appraisal help. And we'll see you again for more adventures in the antique and vintage community soon. Bye for now.